Alright, how you going guys? Coach Gregory from Based. So we're going through the meeting, the coaches and officials number 4, which was our first one for 2021. Alright, so the agenda we went through. So we had a summary of our lessons learned from 2020, which was a pretty big year for us. We had a look at inclusion ideas and different groups and how we can provide a better environment for them. Craig delivered the LGBTQ plus ally training course that we have. It's just ally awareness. We had a look at the National Eating Disorder Survey, just a summary from that, from the training that was undertaken for that. And we had a brief look at risk assessments as a follow-on to an incident at the competition. Not one of ours, but yeah, still a good lesson. Alright, so our events for 2020, we had the monthly Warzone Beach Bashes. They were the indoor events at Aussie Indoor Beach Volleyball. We also had the first summer series, which is Penance Comp. And we had the Q Road Trip and the Q Crucible, the development work that we did up in Q, which unfortunately didn't turn into an ongoing club. Never mind, lessons learned. And we had the Australian Seat Games, which was the beach wrestling there. So our lessons learned from those events, basically we're looking at flip charts for the beach bash, some A-frame signage with the rules for beach wrestling. We have another road trip planned for next year, which will be open to our people. And we also, that'll be in April, up to Broome more than likely. And we also have equipment being set up for the Australian Seat Games, so it will be a full wrestling event this year with freestyle, Greco and beach wrestling all covered, which will be pretty awesome. Alright, so our inclusion, some inclusion ideas that we're currently working on. So we've got the first ever Pride Cup, that is on 12th of December. We have the TAC Wrestling, which is our wrestling for the visually impaired. That program you'll get a look at in the October coaches and officials. We also will be running the deaf awareness training, hopefully in the November coaches and officials as part of that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening in that space. And we are open to more ideas. So the more inclusive, the more enjoyable we can make it for our people and for, wrestlers and grapplers in general, then look, that's going to be awesome. Regional development, at the moment, like I say, we're working to start expanding into other areas. So looking at both north and south, looking at some options there to start establishing a bit more of a regional focus rather than everything just for the town kids, because the country guys seem to get not much of anything. And allied sports, so as you've already seen, as you may have noticed in the November coaches and officials, the September coaches and officials, we had the sumo guys in, Drew from WO Sumo. In October we've got Logan doing a bit of kabaddi. Hopefully we'll get the South Sudanese guys in again. Yeah, so lots of work happening in that space to try to again create an inclusive culture where these other grappling disciplines are welcome, and we'll look at getting Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Judo involved as well, so we can get some different views. Alright, so the ally training, like I said, that was delivered. Myself and Chris Butler both undertook that training. It will be running again before we run the Pride Cup in December. Alright, National Eating Disorder Survey. So this was the result of a big study through AIS and the National Disordered Eating. So end results, it's more prevalent in women than it is in men. Obviously, as expected, Again, higher instances in athletes, youth, and members of the LGBTQ community. It is not an absolute, yes, you've got a disorder, or no, you don't. It's a spectrum, it's a range of things. Combat sports in particular, our athletes are more prone to it because we're weight division sports, which tends to lend itself to instances of disordered eating, i.e. weight cutting. So what the big takeaways from all the research, coaches, we need to be aware of the impact of what we say. Okay, so we've got a couple of key little examples here of favourite phrases that some coaches use. You should have a six-pack. Okay, telling an 8 or 10-year-old child that they should have a six-pack. Six-packs come down to body fat percentage. I can give anyone a six-pack or drive their weight low enough or their body fat low enough, they will get a six-pack. Okay, that doesn't mean it's healthy. Okay, he or she is too heavy or too big. Yeah, so we want to be careful with those sorts of phrases because while we may not mean it in a derogatory or negative way, that is the way, unfortunately, it will get taken. He or she needs to cut weight. Okay, kids shouldn't be cutting weight. I'm sorry, that's why we use Warzone because there is no advantage to weight cutting. With our youth athletes, we're very, very big on getting them. We want them walking around at their competition weight. They should be comfortable at that weight and happy enough to compete upper weight division if they need to. Okay, there shouldn't be any stress on in a sense, making weight. All right, so what can we do? So we put a health first approach. Okay, we need to. It's a healthy body weight. We want them in the optimum healthy condition. That's how we're going to get best performance. Nutrition, sleep, stress. Those are our pillars. We're not worried about supplementation and you know, weight cutting and dehydration. That's not a positive situation. We want to be emphasizing, again, like I said, competing at a healthy weight. Skills focus, not weight focus. Okay, you made weight by 100 grams. Look, if you're not confident in that weight, you know, not confident in the weight division above, well, maybe you need to look at your skills. Because, I mean, particularly for youths, they can be as low as 5 kilograms. If you're not, not confident handling 5 kilos heavier than you, maybe we want to look at how their skill development is. We need to shut down the body image culture. Okay, wrestlers come in all shapes and sizes. It's a sport for everybody. We need to walk the walk, not just talk it. Know and understand what healthy percentages are. All right, I use body scan. I use body fat percentage. Know what those numbers are. Know what they mean, and don't rely on scales. Don't get kids stepping on the scales every 5 minutes, focusing on a number on a scale. Scales lie. Okay, we can fluctuate your weight by in excess of 2 kilograms on any given day, just by the amount of water you drink. Okay, and how much food you eat. All right, so risk assessments. This was something we sort of flicked across following a struggle that they had at one of the competitions, trying to work out how to do a risk assessment. So they should be performed before every event. Okay, keep it simple, doesn't have to be complicated, should be performed by the manager or responsible staff member, and make sure it reflects your actual situation. Okay, it's simply a case of going through the process, so spotting the hazards, assessing the risks, make changes, and then review those changes to make sure they're effective. If something happens that's unexpected, it should be a simple process of going back through this again, implement new controls, mitigate your risk, and then move on. Okay, it's not a rule by committee. Someone must be responsible. Okay. All right, and pretty much that's it. That was what was gone through. All right. Any questions, any dramas, hit us up and we'll look after you. And there you go, Coach Butler, as promised.